being. I was called the right being by the Vice President Education, Madam Acting President. And in any case, I always get up with the belief in the morning that everyone around me is wrong. I'm the only one who's right. And if you all say that you don't do this, maybe not first thing in the morning, but I'm sure that there are moments when you feel that you are right and the others around you are completely wrong. Do you ever feel that? Anybody wants to raise a hand and be honest here? Do you ever feel that way? Okay, Shubham does. Gunjan does. I'll just take that as a yes from some of the people, and that's enough for me. I was, I think, about 13 years old, and I was trying to embroider this napkin that my mom had asked me to. I did not like all of this work. According to me, I should be out there playing and reading books and listening to music. And this task of housekeeping and embroidery and cooking was just completely alien to me, nor did I want to even do anything with it. However, my mom insisted, and I was struggling with it badly. I had already tried to do it twice, and my mom had just come and said that this is all wrong. She had just taken it all out, and I had to redo it for the third time. Naturally, I was very upset and I was grumbling and I was calling my mom a dominating tyrant. I was calling her anti feminist. I was calling her biased. I was calling her partial to my brother, all sorts of things. And finally, my grandfather, who was quietly reading the newspaper next to me, asked me, what's the matter? I said, this is you do you realize this is not what I'm supposed to do, and the light is not proper. I have been told to do this. I don't want to do this. This is what she wants to do, so let her do it. I had all the reasons why I should not be sitting there. And he and I both knew that ultimately I would have to do it. There is no getting out of it. So he just smiled at me and said, it happens. I was very happy. I was very encouraged that no matter what happens, my grandfather is always in my corner. A few days later, I received my English paper and I got 100 in it. Getting 100 in your English paper is miraculous. I was on top of the moon. I came dancing into the room. I was singing, I was shouting. And finally, I got my grandfather's attention, who was, as usual, reading the newspaper. And he looked up and he asked me finally, what's the matter? I said, I got it absolutely right. Can you imagine? I could do nothing wrong. 100 in English. I'm absolutely perfect in this. And he looked at me and he said, it happens. I was like, no, you're not listening to me. Look at my paper. I've got 100. Why are you trying to console me? He said, I am trying to let you know that you were trying to do your best when you were trying to embroider that napkin. And then you had this feeling that no matter what you did, you wouldn't get it right. And today, you've got 100 in this paper, and you think that no matter what you do, you will always get it right. So for you, it is not about doing things right, it is about just being right. This desire for perfection has driven you mad. Your sorrows, your sadness, and your happiness, everything is circling around your desire for perfection. Can you once think about being right? I was like, that is what I'm trying to tell you. I was right. I have been right. I've proven that I'm right. He said, being right is so much more than this, Rolly. And you have so many more years to go before you'll understand this. And obviously, I understood nothing. And it took me many years to even get a hint of what he was trying to tell me that day. When I was given the chance to take up the role of hosting the meeting today, I thought this is a good opportunity. I have some ideas about what being a right being means. Let me also find out from all of these Toastmasters who are going to take the stage today and find out what they think being right being means. And thankfully, I have very wise answers from all of these, which I'm going to share with you in today's meeting as we go along. This meeting is divided into three parts. The first is the prepared speeches segment, in which our members who have already chosen their paths will be delivering projects from that chosen path. And they will be, of course, evaluated by dedicated speech evaluators. After this prepared speeches segment, we will have the impromptu speeches segment, which is also called as table topics in Toastmasters. And that will give a chance to all of the members and the guests present here to take the stage and deliver a 1 to 2 minute speech, their opinion on the table topics that the table topics master will share on the spot. But it's a great opportunity to find out where you stand on the public speaking stage. After that will be the third segment, which is our evaluation segment, which will be led by our general evaluator, who will be supported by the speech evaluators that I just spoke about, and a trio of these auxiliary role players who will make sure that we stay within time, that we are not filling our time and our opportunity on stage with incorrect words or in unnecessary sounds and text, and making sure that we are using the best usage of language. So one by one, I'm going to call on stage our auxiliary role players so that they can introduce themselves and their role to you. The first thing that we must remember whenever we try to interact with anyone, before we decide who's right and who's wrong, is to realize the right usage of time, because that is the one thing we cannot ever replace. If you interact with me and you decide that my car is yours and you take it away from me, I can get another car. But if you interact with me and take away even 2 seconds of my time, I will not be able to get it back. So, using the time correctly is the first quality of being a right being. Respect your time and respect others' time. And with that, I would like to invite on stage our timer for the meeting, Toastmaster Karthik Mishra, who is 27 years old and he's our sergeant at arms. Played this role before and he's something that he excels at. And he believes that to be right, all you need to do is look up the Indian Constitution and read up the fundamental rights and duties section. I believe that that's a very, very good advice, something we probably don't even think of during our normal course of life. So please put your hands together for our timer of the day, Toastmaster Karthik, to take the stage and explain his role.
Thank you, Timon. Hello, everyone. I'm timer of today's meeting. My job for today is to record, remind, and report time taken by each and every role player and respective speakers. I will present my report at the end of the meeting, and I will show the time limit according to the cards, which I will show in my virtual background. Like we see traffic signals, green, first stage, yellow second stage, and red third stage, which means time is up. You have 30 seconds to end your speech. Oh, and that's it from my end. Over to T-Mod.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Karthik. Toastmaster Karthik will be sharing his Timers report during the evaluation segment. So please make sure that you follow his card colors very carefully. Our next role player is our R counter of the meeting, making sure that we speak correctly and we do not waste another person's time or distract their attention by using any kind of filler words or filler sounds requires our absolute attention. Making sure that we are attentive to what we are doing. We are in that moment and we are happy to be in that moment is the second quality for being the right being. To ensure that we reduce our R counts, if not today, at least in future meetings, is our R counter of the day, Toastmaster Shubham Rastogi, who's a budding Toastmaster. He's also our Associate Public Relations Officer. He's a striving leader and he believes that a balanced mindset is the one that will make sure that you are a right being. Making sure that what you offer to others is a good deed will ensure that you in turn receive good deeds from others. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Shubham Rastogi, our R counter of the meeting.
Thank you, Timor. Distinguished Toastmaster Roli. The theme is very apt, and I would like to just echo your words that being right is not the most important part. Being the right being is the most important. And today, with my role as an R counter, I would help my members and the guests to improve, to go towards the path of being the right being. During our speech, during our communications, we use different kind of words, different kinds of filler words like so, or we take some long pauses that give us some time to think. This may not be relevant or noticeable to the to the speaker, but it becomes very important, or it creates an impression on the listener. Moving towards being the right being, I will be preparing a list of our counters and the filler words used by our speakers throughout the meeting. I will note down and I will give a statistic at the end of the meeting for everyone. Hope we will use our word of the day flabbergastedly, and we will keep our counters and filler words to the bare minimum. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shubham. I was quite flabbergasted with the use of the word flabbergastedly in your sentence. I will let our language evaluator comment more on that when he is invited in the evaluation segment. But do you remember when I told you about the way I was talking about my mother? She's a tyrant, she's dominating, she's anti feminist. All large, complex, words that demonstrate my knowledge of the language. But am I really using all of these words correctly? Is it actually right to say something like this for anyone? And least of all, your parent who invests so much time and effort into raising you. Beautiful usage of the language makes sure that whatever we are saying, we are able to convince other people. The intent of using those words, the result of using those words has to be equally beautiful. But let me not take much of your time and stand between you and our language evaluator, who's already placed the word of the day, which is flabbergasted, in the chat window. Let's make sure that we use this word all through the meeting and get in touch with Toastmaster George Dev Burman, who hails from Assam, but he's been working with L&T, and he's based in Delhi at the moment. The 5 years of corporate life has taught him a lot of things, and he has realized various things. And most importantly, he has realized that his goal in life should be to retire at the age of 35 and do what he wants to do. I am already 15 years too late and nowhere close to setting such a ambitious goal for myself. But I also believe that his advice to us for being the right being is very pertinent and must be followed. Just be honest with yourself. I think that is so true. Just being honest doesn't help. Being honest with ourselves is much more important. So, the man with the wise advice, let's invite Toastmaster George Dev Burman, the language evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Oli. It is the nice words you have said about me. It's really amazing. And so today I'm the language evaluator for the meeting. And for the to being a language evaluator, my work is to pay attention to all the use of English language and provide constructive feedback to all for improvement. I will jot down all the quotes, good quotes, as well as the good phrase and new words. If somebody use, then and at the end of the meeting, I will give the feedback and my report for the same. And before that, I want to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day is flabbergast. Okay, so that's meaning is amazing, astonishing, astonished, and amazed. Okay, and so we can use this word like his performance in the cricket match flabbergasted us. Okay, the result of his result in the examination flabbergasted all the villagers, all the neighbors. So this is the way we can use that word. And so I encourage you, all of you, to use these words as much as possible. And whoever will use this word will give a thumbs up to him. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster Roli.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster George. I'm sure that if you have not felt that emotion of being flabbergasted until now you certainly will. Because I'm about to introduce you to someone very special. This person is going to be our first speaker of the day, which means that we are about to embark on our prepared speeches segment. When I was thinking about the speeches that we prepare, we deliver, and then we seek feedback on it, probably it is the virtual stage that is causing us to not interact with people as much as we used to when we were delivering our speeches on a physical stage. Everybody used to be right in front of us, and we were taught how to ensure that nobody in the room would ever feel left out, to make sure that we would make eye contact with every quarter of our audience groups. Today, we are not able to do as much of that because we are meeting virtually. But I think that there is something that we can all do, and that is that when we are talking to people, when we are delivering a speech in front of people, let's talk to persons. Let's make sure that when I am talking to you, I ensure that my heart reaches out to yours. Whatever I'm trying to connect with my mind should connect with your heart first. If we can do that, I think the rightness of our being will no longer need to be established. It will already come into play automatically. Our first speaker today is going to be Toastmaster Eddie Pang. I don't see him in the meeting. Am I wrong? Okay,
That
he's there. Yeah, he's just like, okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Eddie. So Toastmaster Eddie joined us about 40 days ago, I believe. And he's been this bright spark of power. And he comes into our meetings, he lights the whole screen up because he's so enthusiastic. But before I invite him, I would like to invite his speech evaluator, again, a very special person, Toastmaster Baldev Arora, who restarted his Toastmasters journey this year. He had started it in 2001, continued until 2009, and then he took a break. And now he's trying to jazz it up with all of this digital learning platform. But what I really love about his philosophy that he puts so simply, and we should all take back for with ourselves, is when we humorize, we humanize. I think if we can laugh at the situation, if we can laugh at ourselves, we can see the funny side of things, and we can make sure that when others make mistakes, we don't feel so bad. And when we make mistakes, we don't feel so bad either. Because what is the issue with this perfectionism? Like my grandfather also said. But let me invite on stage Toastmaster Baldev Arora to help us orient ourselves with the objectives that Toastmaster Eddie will be targeting in his project today.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest, and of course, speaker in particular. Speaker Toastmaster Eddie is attempting his icebreaker from Effective Coaching Pathway, Project 1, Level 1. And the objective of his speech is to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Before I wish all the best to Toastmaster Eddie, and my role as evaluator will be to give my evaluation specific on this objective in line with the Toastmasters manual. I give my best compliments to Toastmaster Eddie for his first and the icebreaker speech. All the best, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rolling.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Baldev. Toastmaster Baldev said that he's going to be evaluating Toastmaster Eddie's speech. When I had asked him that what is the definition of a right being according to you, he said, our job is not to fix people. Our job is not to change people. Our job is to love people and not judge people. So I know that Eddie has the best possible speech evaluator who is not going to judge him, who's not going to be thinking about fixing him, who's only going to help him improve as any responsible evaluator should. This is Toastmaster Eddie's first step on his effective coaching path. And as tradition, we will all deliver a standing ovation once he has finished the speech. The speech duration will be 4 to 6 minutes. Toastmaster Eddie hails from Arunachal Pradesh. It's a beautiful land, but he wants to come to India. He wants to come to Delhi. I have no clue why, but probably he thinks that the lawyer and him can make a better change in Delhi. Arunachal Pradesh is already quite lawful, as they say. So let's welcome Toastmaster Eddie Pang for his first speech, that is his icebreaker. On the path, sorry, go ahead.
No, continue, ma'am.
Okay, let me invite you on stage. Eddie Pang, on the path to discovery, on the path to discovery, Eddie Pang.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eddie Payang, and I am from the land of the Dawnlit Mountains, the easternmost state of India, Arunachal Pradesh. So since this is my icebreaker speech, so I'm gonna be sharing something about my personal life. And this is something very, very, very personal. So I'm gonna be sharing it with you guys, and hope you guys, maybe you guys will get to know me better. So here it goes, I'll try. So I remember when I was in standard 4, way back. So I suddenly decided that this time around, I'm going to be the topper of my class. And before going any further, let me give you a brief background of how I was back then during my early schooling days. So as a student, I was quite the ordinary. I had no special talent or aptitude that would set me apart from the rest of the group. And my grades, they were always average or slightly above average. And unlike Roli Mem, I never secured 100 by 100. That would have been impossible for me. So yeah, and to be honest, I really disliked studying. Education was really something I didn't enjoy. But I don't know something, I don't know what happened to me. I made up my mind that I'm gonna be the topper of my class, maybe to win the accolades of my teachers and my student fellow mates. So I started working hard. I really started studying every day for weeks and months, even though I did not enjoy it, but I started doing it. Unfortunately, the best I could do when the results were out, the best I could do was get fourth rank. Not even on among the top 3, but fourth. And man, I was so disappointed. I was so upset with me that even after studying so much, I could only achieve this. So I was really mad. I was mad at myself, and I was also mad at him, the topper. I was really pissed with him. But still, I went up to him. I congratulated him because he was my friend. He was my classmate. I just patted on his back and said, "Oh wow, you're smart, man. You're very smart." But a few days later, I found out that the girl that I had a crush on, yep, Cupid hit me really early. So I found out a few days later that the girl that I had a crush on, she now has a crush on him because he is the topper. So there goes my pehla pyar on the very first time. So, so I was really disappointed for a 9-year-old who could not achieve his objective and lost his lady love, his dream girl, his Hema Malini, I don't know. So this was like so it was crushing. It was so crushing. But still, I moved on. I moved on with my life. I mean, what else can I do? There's nothing I can do. I have to accept. Then many years passed, and now I'm in my late teens and in my early 20s. And this phase of my life is actually the dark period. I consider it is the ugliest period of my life because I didn't turn out the way I hoped and the way I expected myself to be. Because I turned out to be, this is something very personal, but I turned out to be an alcoholic. I started taking a lot of drinks everywhere. This is a very common phenomenon in our state, in the Northeast, especially in our state. So I started drinking a lot. I started smoking a lot, hanging out with my friends, just merrymaking, doing things that was of no value. And yeah, it really, I had no aim, no focus on my studies, no nothing, no future plan. I was just living, just bindas. I was enjoying life and seeing the way I turned out to be. My family, they were very disappointed. Uh, they were really sad because, like all the family, like every family, my family, they also expected me to be one day my son will become a, a, a big officer, government officer, and he will have a lot of respect in the society. But that is not how I turned out to be. And this really, really upset them. And it cost me my reputation. It really, really made a bad repo about me in front of everyone. So, this was very, very like I said, ugly phase of my life, and I was totally disappointed. I was completely disenchanted with my life. Then my grandfather dies. In the year of 2015, my grandfather passed away, and that incident completely changed everything. Life started to kick me hard, and I started to feel the pressure that since I'm the eldest of the three siblings, so I realized that now I have to shoulder some of the family responsibility, that I need to be more responsible, be more uh, be more duty bound towards my family, especially the younger ones. So I started realizing that, and pointed. So yeah, I was very life started to kick me hard, and I wasn't I wasn't very happy about me. When I introspected about what I did in the past and what I could have achieved, how successful I could have become, but I threw it all away and threw it all away in doing things which was of no value, no purpose, no meaning. That really hurt. I really felt bad about myself. I was full of, because I was really bad. I was a despicable person. I was morally reprehensible. So so I decided that enough is enough. Time has come that I need to mend my ways. That I need to be more uh, dignified and live the life of a righteous person. And with that in my mind, I first quit alcohol. I quit smoking and hanging out with friends. Uh, I don't blame them because it was my decision. I don't blame anyone except me. I take the responsibility for whoever I turned out to be. So yeah, I stopped doing all those things, and I started questioning myself. I started questioning everything from my habit to my views, my beliefs about my life, family, society, religion, everything. And yeah, I started to read, and I started to journal. Sorry, I'm taking some time, but I'm almost about to be complete. I'm about to finish. So I started to journal, and journaling really helped me for therapy. It act like therapy for me. Then I started to work out. I started doing meditation, and I was I started taking some online offline courses to learn new skills, to basically to grow, to be a better person, to grow. And I started pushing myself. I started to test myself and decided that it's time to learn new things, go out there, explore, and hopefully be a more better human. So thank you very much. That's my life. That's my story. So there's nothing fancy about my life. There's no major big achievements, no major accomplishments. It's just guilt and heartache. So I hope everything turns out to be okay eventually in the future. So thank you very much, and back to you, Rolly.
Thank you so much. Can everyone please unmute themselves and then give a standing ovation? Do that for Eddie.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Eddie, I'm sure that you will be able to get a lot of feedback from everyone. Uh, the feedback link in the meeting quality form is already posted in the chat window. I am just posting it one more time, just in case anybody had. Okay. For some reason, I don't have the right to copy and paste in the chat window. Toastmaster Karthik, could you do that for us?
Yes, I will do that.
Yeah, just post it again.
The
Thank you.
shared link is the meeting quality form and feedback link both.
Right. So please do access this link and provide your feedback to Toastmaster Eddie. You'll find his name in the speakers list. I'm sure that he's just beginning his journey and he can benefit a lot from your comments. We'll just take 40 seconds to help you share the feedback.
Sure.
Making the right choices and identifying what we are doing and what's not working is a very tough decision. It's not something that all of us are able to do. Many of us might be thinking in our pride and our ego that what we're doing is absolutely right and others don't know us so well. Sometimes that is also labeled as generational gap between the parents and the children. It's just that we are being different, or our children are being different, or for the likes of you, your parents might be encouraging you to do something different from what you see your peers doing. It's not possible to always classify those who are different as being wrong. Keep an open mind and try to look at them as just being different and see their perspective. I'm sure that all of you would have seen that picture in which an old girl and a young girl are both in the same picture. It's a very popular picture on the internet. If you just write old girl, young girl illusion on Google, you'll be able to get it. And you'll see that some of us look at the same picture and think this is a young girl. And some of us look at the same picture and say, oh, no, it's an old woman. And both of us are right? Because they are there in the same picture after all. So while you hunt that out, I think I see a lot of people hunting that. I would like to draw your attention back to the meeting and give us a chance to move to our next speaker, Toastmaster Alok. Toastmaster Alok Kujur will be completing his level 1 today with his project 3, which is a great thing because we've had one speech delivered by a person who just started with his level 1, and we'll finish with a person who is completing his level 1. He has the good fortune of getting his speech evaluated by a veteran twice, uh, 2 times. I think it's not called twice, but 2 times distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. I prefer to just call him DTM square sometimes, but he's really one of the best persons to be on your side if you're ever confused about anything that's related to Toastmasters. He's a trainer in entrepreneurship development, incubation, and innovation. He is a progressive learner and experimenter. Mr. Raj Mehta strongly believes that perseverance brings success. I have myself witnessed him demo that so many times when it was only his perseverance that through his COVID, he managed to still go ahead, deliver all the speech projects, and make sure that he did the exercise that was required diligently and honestly to complete his second Distinguished Toastmaster award. And when I asked him like what would be his advice to me if I asked him to, how can I become a right being? He said, just think right and act right. There is no reason to think about external or internal fear. I think that we should hear from Distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta the speech objectives that Toastmaster Alok is targeting today. Welcome you to the stage, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Rolisina DTM. Today, I shall be evaluating the speech to be delivered by Toastmaster Alok. Toastmaster Alok shall be delivering a speech from Level 1, Project 3, from Dynamic Leadership, which is about researching and presenting. Under this project, Toastmaster Alok shall be delivering a speech to learn or review basic research methods and then present it in a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Today, Toastmaster Alok shall be delivering a speech which is titled The Quiet Guy, Toastmaster Alok. Over to Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. Before I move on to inviting Toastmaster Alok to the stage, let me just also request him to correct the angle of his camera so that the top of his head is not cut off. Yeah, and your bandwidth is low. So if we are not able to hear you properly, I will gesture to you. Okay, just please stop, switch off your video and deliver the speech without the video, because we would certainly want to hear you even if we are not able to see you at the same time. Are you able to get that from me, Alok? Okay, great. Toastmaster Alok is 32 years old and he hails from Ranchi in Jharkhand, and he's working as a senior electrical and electronics engineer in DMRC, which takes people from one place to another, and that's his best hobby, it seems, to jump from one hobby to another. He has always wanted to select or find the right set of things, whether it is career or hobby or financial planning or his relationships. And he says that it has led him nowhere. Maybe he should actually sit in the metro once or twice without an agenda, and it will take him to where he wants. He said that it is futile to always want to be right because we are humans and we have a tendency to perceive things as right or wrong based on our prejudices and biases. So even when we are right, we might be wrong in somebody else's perspective. So the best thing is to try to understand the other side of the picture and put yourself into the other person's shoes before jumping to any conclusions. So don't jump to conclusions, jump to a hobby. That's probably the agenda that Toastmaster Alok follows. Toastmaster Alok Kujur, the quiet guy. The quiet guy, Toastmaster Alok Kujur.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rory. Can you please do a quick order check for me if I'm audible or visible?
You are audible, but it is a little difficult to hear you. Can you increase the volume of your speakers?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Now it is much clearer. Please go ahead.
Hello, why do you speak so less? Hello, why do you join us for lunch? Hello, why do they hang out with us and have fun? These are all the typical questions I hear often. And I'm sure many introverts like me might have heard this a million times. I used to be so introverted and so Although during my school and college days, that many people didn't even know that a creation named Alok even exists. And because of this, my friends even gave me a nickname called Sannata or the quiet guy. So here I am today, presenting my case before you on behalf of all the introverts. Whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, influences almost every aspect, from relationships to your personal well-being to your style of leadership. Even introverts and extroverts experience happiness differently. For extroverts, happiness is usually a high arousal state, which feels more like enthusiasm and excitement. For introverts, happiness often feels more like calm and contentment. And not understanding that this one small difference can mean spending a lifetime chasing a version of happiness which doesn't even fit who we are. So instead of relying on mix of what it means to be an introvert or an extrovert, let's look at what ongoing is revealing. Introverts and extroverts engage differently with the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine or the neurotransmitter the extroverts prefer is like caffeine or coffee. It boosts us up and prepares us for action. It is released when we encounter external stimulation like noise, light, or even people. And introverts naturally have the level of dopamine in the system which feels pretty good. But if they are put in a high stimulation settings, the level of dopamine increases in the system, which feels like they had an entire part of coffee, which feels exciting at first, but eventually exhausting. But introverts, but introverts have a different type of chemical which they use to get fed. This chemical is known as acetylcholine. This chemical is released when we focus on activities like focusing on a project or having meaningful conversation with one person. So if dopamine is popping, acetylcholine is herbal tea. And of course, none of us are 100% extrovert or 100% introverts. We all have access to both the neurotransmitters. It's like being right-handed or being left-handed. We use both our hands naturally, but one of these is usually stronger and we naturally rely on it more. But stereotypes make it seem like being an extrovert or being an introvert is about how much you like small talk. But research keeps on proving new things, which shows that introverts and extroverts engage differently. They have mechanisms which prove that our personality and our personality are hardwired in our brain, which is very hard to move. So if you try to change one's personality from being an extrovert to being an introvert or vice versa, is something not feasible nor sensible. Let me just quickly give you an example of Finland. On March 2010, some hundreds of market experts gathered at a restaurant in Helsinki, the capital of Finland. Their goal: make Finland the world's tourist destination. Finland is a quiet country known as the land of introverts. The obvious marketing strategy would be to do advertisements, turn up the volume, add excitement and action. But the experts went a different direction. They concluded that Finland's affinity for quiet peace was core part of its appeal. Life is noisy and busy. Silence is a resource, the report said. What was the result? And tourism in Finland grew, cities thrived, and Finland took the top spot, happiest country again. So it's time to change our strategy and think like Finland. Even, in fact, 53% of millionaires worldwide identify themselves as introverts. A 10-year-long study revealed that introverted CEOs are more likely to surpass the expectations of their boss and their boards or their investors. Even in sales, which is a highly social field, introverts are just as successful. But our world lean more towards extroversion. Our culture confuses often confuses visibility and volume with value. And this makes us think, and this makes us think that introverts need to change to be more like their extrovert counterparts, to lead or to have influence. But this is simply not true. Introverts lead differently, but they do it equally well. Take, for example, Mahatma Gandhi or Steve Jobs or J.K. Rowling. These are some world famous introverts. And they might come in small package, different personality packages, but they have common, they might come in various personality packages, but they are often shy, reserved, and silent. And these qualities are very much needed in our world today. Because right now, we live in a world full of noise and we are busy. So we need, we live in a noisy and stressed out world. The foundations of who we are as humanity have been shaken by COVID-19 and global tragedies. The winds, we are experiencing, I'm really sorry, something not. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, hello, we can hear you. You can go on.
Our world is faced with difficulties due to COVID-19 and global tragedy. What if the introverts can be the silent whisper of God right now? What if our strengths like empathy and perceptiveness, reflection and meaningful connection can be the change we all need, can be the change we all wanted for? Our world needs leadership of both the extroverts and the introverts. Extroverts and introverts are the complementary pairings in our humanity, which both have their potential and their special gifts. So instead of asking which type of personality or leadership is better, let's ask how we can join forces to make our world better together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Alok. Thank you for persevering through all of those network challenges and completing your speech. Everyone in the audience, I request you to use the same link as provided earlier to provide feedback for Toastmaster Alok. And you can also write him a personal chat message or send a personal chat message to our previous speaker, Toastmaster Eddie, if you would like to do that to provide your comments. We'll just take 30 seconds for you to do this. And after 30 seconds, I request the tech master to please launch the poll for the best speaker.
Sure. So there's no
Let's
next
just
speaker.
no, the other two speakers couldn't make it today, so we just have Toastmaster Eddie and Toastmaster Alok.
Okay. For feedback, 20 seconds left. After that, I will share.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Time's up. Time is up. I will share the
Yes, please
poll.
launch the poll. Yes.
Only two speakers have. So please vote between Eddie Payang and Alok Kujur.
Yes. Please don't include Devashish in your voting.
Time is up. Please continue, Timod.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Karthik, the results, if you could just send me on a personal chat message, okay, so that I
Sure.
can prepare the certificates towards the end of the meeting. Okay,
Sure. I will share it.
thank you so much. So you might also be wondering why I'm laboring so much on this question of being the right being. Why is this so important for us? If you recall, like right from our the beginning of our education, when we enter school, everything is based on marks. If you get enough marks, then you are considered to be very good. Then you are like right or wrong. That's the definition that we learn from the beginning. And if you have a very good percentage of being right most of the time, then you are considered to be a success. Otherwise, the wrong ones fall into the basket of failures. And nobody wants to be a failure. So we develop this fear of failing, we develop this fear of being in the wrong. But do we really fear the feeling of being wrong? Actually, no. It is the realization that we might be wrong that fills us with horror. Because most of the time, the first time when I'm being wrong, I don't even know. I might not even feel, I might not even realize that I am being wrong. After a little while, I will gain that realization. I will get that knowledge that yes, I am being wrong. But then I will wonder, okay, should I share it with other people that I am being wrong? Or should I just let it be because, maybe they won't discover? And if it happens that other people also realize that I'm being wrong, then I might just go into denial. No, I'm not wrong. This happened and that is why my action was like this. So and so. My mom was telling me to do this. The light is not right. Because everything around me has to be wrong. Just so that I never put myself into a vulnerability position that I don't want to be called wrong. But that's not how life operates, does it? We have so many unexpected situations that keep cropping up. We have no preparation that we've done for those. So the chances of going wrong and getting it wrong are very high. But in those moments, the right being would still want to be happy in that moment. If you read A Man in Search of Meaning by Viktor Frankl, or you even try to imagine the a Holocaust survivor's mental state, do you think that we would want to deny them the right to smile or to be happy? No. But would we expect them to be happy? We would want them to be happy. But when something, even a tiny little thing happens to me in the morning, I don't get my coffee, my smile vanishes. It's just gone. So should I allow myself to feel bad? Or if I don't get that promotion that I was looking forward to, should I think of myself as a failure? I am sure that each one of you sitting here was genuinely happy for me when I got the DTM award. But would you have considered me less of a being if I had not got it? So why should I stop smiling? Why should I stop smiling if it's taking a little bit longer than I expected? I should try to be happy with what I have. I should try to be happy in the moment. And most importantly, which is extremely important for a table topic speaker, is to be confident of the choices that you are making in that situation. You won't have a lot of preparation time, but you'll make an opinion. You'll form an opinion and you'll go ahead with it. My suggestion, please go ahead with it. Because one of the most empathetic and sensitive people in our club is going to be your table topics master for this meeting. Toastmaster Gunjan Agarwal is working as an educator. She's doing her master's in English literature, and what a fool I was to give an example of 100 marks in English. But that's okay. That's fine. I can be foolish here because I can just put across my perspective, and I hope that you will put across your perspective because she's here to listen. She believes that when we listen to other people, it prevents us from making the wrong assumptions, and most importantly, it prevents us from making the wrong assumptions and acting on those wrong assumptions. That is her definition of being the right being. And I'm sure that you will be right and raise your hand when she takes the stage and calls out for volunteers. Toastmaster Gunjan Agarwal, please take the stage for conducting the table topic segment.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Roli, and thank you for such a warm introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So this session, the table topic session, it helps the members practice the art of improvisation. And it in turn helps us to develop 4 vital communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. The topics that I have prepared for you will hopefully help all of us become better at improvisation. Since we as Toastmasters try and provide a speaking opportunity to maximum audience, this session is not restricted to members alone. The great part is that even a guest can participate. So I hope everyone gives this a shot. So I may randomly call anyone to participate, or you can obviously volunteer to come up on stage yourself by raising your hand. So before we begin, there are certain rules that we need to keep in mind. The timing for a table topic session is for 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute is the minimum time and 2 minutes is the maximum time. After reaching the time limit of 2 minutes, you will be given a grace period of 30 seconds where you are requested to wrap up your speech. So participants are allowed to speak for a minimum time of 1 minute and a maximum time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the table topic session before being disqualified. This will be taken care by a timer of the day, Toastmaster Karthik. Also, I will request you all to please use word of the day flabbergasted given by a language evaluator of the day, Toastmaster George Dev. So don't worry about being right. Just make the right choice of participating in this session. So now I would request our members, for the benefit of our guest, to please raise your hand. Okay, we already have a volunteer, Toastmaster Shubham. So let me just share the screen. We'll have a set of numbers, among which you will have to select one number and the topic will be presented. So Toastmaster Shubham, which number would you like to select?
I think I've set a trend of choosing number 9, so it becomes obvious for me to choose 9. It saves time.
Okay, so number 9. Okay, so your topic is what the majority of people decide always right, or can it be wrong? Over to you, Toastmaster Shubham.
I don't know why always our table topic masters keep everyone in dilemma of choosing what to speak on the topic. The topic on screen is what the majority of people decide always right, or can it be wrong? It takes me to a flashback of the famous show of Kaun Banega Crorepati. In that show, we take polls of if particular participant is not able to answer, and they can reach out for help to their audience. Many a times we have seen that even if the odds are against to that particular answer, and the minority can be right. So we cannot judge everything by the sake of one yardstick, that everything who goes with the majority is the right being. Even the minority one may be the right one. Being a finance personnel, I would like to quote one thing. If you are an investor, it's not necessarily that you go towards the major stock that has been there with you. It may be a herd effect. It may not be the right approach. We have seen instances wherein the scam was busted only because the shares or anything was overvalued because of the majority feeling. Things go wrong. Things go wrong when people go towards the majority even before applying their own mindset. Apart from the financial stock market as well, it goes with our life as well. Our nature of decisions doesn't always go right when majority of people are suggesting us to do something. If Eddie would have gone what other people have told him, he would have not amended his ways in his life. It is only his choices or his minority people who were there or standing behind his life. It goes with everyone. So in order to conclude and sum up, I don't believe that the only right thing can be towards the majority decision. It goes towards the balanced approach. It goes beyond your instincts and your own gut feeling, whether you are the right being or not. That is all from my side. Thank you to Table Topic Master Gunjan.
That was a great take on the topic, Toastmaster Shubham. Thank you for giving us such a great perspective. So now next, who would like to volunteer? May I see some raise of hands? Okay, Toastmaster Baldev. Thank you so much for volunteering. Okay. Which number would you like to select?
Today's date 6.
Okay.
Simple.
So, okay, so you have a situation. What will you do if you had a bad fight with your best friend and you know that he or she is at fault? Over to you, Toastmaster Baldev.
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. What will you do if you had a bad fight with your best friend and you know that he is at fault? The fault is not with the friend. The fault lies within me. If he is my true friend and the fight has happened, I will go back and talk to him. Hey, it was nothing personal. You are my best friend. And I will always continue to consider you as my best friend. My job is not to fix, although today is number 6. If he's truly my friend, I will sit and listen. It doesn't matter whose fault is. What is the most important for me? The best friend. Best friend means a friend who's your friend in need and for whom you are also the best friend. The relationship is much more important than for that particular instance which happened. It can happen due to any reason. So again, I can approach regardless of the fault, listen to his side of the story and learn something. And once the things cool down, things are okay. We all are humans. So I believe and strongly believe that just accept that person who is my best friend with all his faults, because maybe I have 9 faults within me. He has only 6. So just love the people. Back to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baldev. It was indeed a really great take on the topic. Before I invite Toastmaster Bhavya, I would first like our guest Sameer to please come and volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So should I write a number or something?
Oh no, you don't have to write a number. You can choose a number from the selected one.
Okay. So I'll select first 1.
Okay, topic 1. What is worse, ignorance or mistake? Over to you, guest Sameer.
Wow, that's really good. You know, the topic that I have been given, it's really good. So I think the ignorance is the worst thing that can a human being can happen to anybody. Because we as a human being makes lots of mistake, but once it comes to ignorance, you try to justify your mistakes, and this happens with everybody everywhere. You see the religion, you see the whatever the identity we belongs to. Most of the time, we are so ignorant about it that we don't want to see the perspective of other people. So in that case, I'll I would like to elaborate a situation where if somebody is somebody just killing somebody in the name of some book or some particular thing, then I think that he's being ignorant about that, not the reality, but just about the book. So like he don't want to understand the reality. He don't want to, because no, if you don't even read any book, if you don't even read any religion or anything, you still that what is right or wrong. It's just come from morality. It's not always that you need to refer to some book or some place. So we are just ignorant many times. Most of the times we are, as a human being. So we think that whatever we are doing, whatever we have done, whatever we are reading, everything is right. We are at our place is always right. So I think yeah. So
Thank you, guest Sameer. It was really great hearing from you. Thank you so much for participating. Now I would like to invite our Toastmaster Bhavya. Okay, which number would you like to select?
I would like to select number 10.
Okay. Okay, Toastmaster Bhavya. So what are the 3 moral rules you will never break? Over to you, Toastmaster Bhavya.
So what a deep, intriguing topic, Toastmaster Gunjan. 3 moral rules I will never break. So number 1 would be not to break somebody's trust, because when somebody has a trust on me, they are being modest towards me that I could be capable of doing something. If a person has thought about me something like that, it is very valuable for me, and I always try to be a good person that I'm able to fulfill that trust a person has put on me and not cheating on somebody or not breaking that trust. If someone has trusted me to do something, I put every effort I could to do that task complete. The second thing would be not to argue with anyone or doubt anyone, because there are things that two people have two perspectives and they both are right, but they start arguing. It is a human tendency to believe that we are right and the next person is not right. The amount of thinking which we have, the thought we put into a particular thing, the other person never does. This is a natural thinking which each and every person in this room has naturally. So if somebody is arguing with me, I don't try to think that he's wrong, I should correct him, then I would be a better person. I feel like, okay, I have told him once, if he doesn't want to listen, I can't help. It was my duty to tell him once. It's okay. If he's happy believing that he's right, let's continue with it and we both are happy. I am happy because I know I'm correct and he's happy because he thinks he's correct. So it's all right. We might both have different perspectives and we both may be true. So the second rule is that I don't argue much with people, even if I know I am correct. And the third rule would be to, let me think. Okay, so my third rule is that I am never on time for anything. So I try to make everything very perfect and put every amount of time I have to do it more better I can. So in that process, I sometimes put too much time in that. So I often get late to things, and how much I try, I'm always just 1 minute late, like just 1 minute is left for my submission when I submit things, because I try to put each and every effort which I can to make a thing perfect. So these are my 3 rules. Never to break anyone's trust. Number 2, never to argue much with people. And number 3, which I can't help, but I'm always more or less late for everything in my life. So they are the 3 rules which I follow, and that's me. Over to you, Toastmaster Gunjan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavya. There was certainly a lot of takeaways from your speech. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, we have our next volunteer, Toastmaster Vinayak. First of all, Toastmaster Vinayak, it's really great to have you back and see you again in our meeting. So I'll share my screen and please select a number. Which number would you like to select? Toastmaster Vinayak.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 8.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so there's a quote which says, "The right choice is hardly ever the easy choice." Please give your views on it. Over to you, Toastmaster Vinayak.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'm really stoked right now. I don't know why, because I came back after 1.5 months to interact with you guys. But anyway, let's coming back to the topic. The right choice is hardly ever the easy choice. I think this particular quote is partial right and partial wrong. Now, why it is right? The right choice is hardly the hardest choice, right? So if there is something which you want to do or which you want to pursue, now how many of times you've been feel that, okay, this particular thing is, maybe if I did wrong in that particular circumstance, what would be the consequence, right? And if I did that right, what would be the result I will get? Now there can be 2 scenarios of that, right? There can be particularly 2 scenarios for that, and that's really my personal experience as well. When I started CA, when I passed 12th, I was like, okay, let's pursue CA, because most of my friends were going to pursue CA. and I was not having that back end plan. Okay, why are you pursuing CA? Is there any kind of result or output you want to get when you will become CA? No, absolutely not. I was just pursuing it just for the sake my friends were pursuing it. But later, after maybe 3.5 or maybe 4 years, I got to realize that okay, it was never my cup of tea. Even though the fact I passed CA intermediate, but yes, it was never my cup of tea, because there is something which you really enjoy, and I don't know why I was not enjoying the some aspects of the CA curriculum. But anyway, that is altogether a different matter. But yes, what I'm trying to say is it's not always what you're going to choose will be right. It's not always what you're going to choose will be right. It's upon how analytically you think about that particular thing, and got some kind of thought process or some kind of output about that particular thing. So yeah, with that thing I want to conclude. And yeah, this particular quote is, I mean, it's kind of practical for me. I have my personal experience with this. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vinayak. It was really great hearing you, and you gave really great insights in this quote. Even I didn't perceive it in this man, to be very honest. Okay, so we have a very special guest with us, DTM Raj Mehta. So would you please like to participate?
Yeah, hello. Yes, I'm ready for participation.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'll share my screen. Which number would you like to choose?
11.
Okay, so this is an advice columnist, and you have to be an
Not
advisor.
visible. It's not visible.
It's not visible?
Yeah, it's the font is too small.
Okay, so should I dictate it for you?
Yeah, that will better.
Okay, so there's a girl named Eva, and she's asking for an advice, and she says that my friend gave me a gift for my birthday, and unfortunately it is a type of perfume I'm extremely allergic to. Should I say something and ask for a receipt to return it, or should I keep quiet? So what advice would you like to give her? Over to you.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Eva, I would just like to say that take the gift as a gift and not something which you should go for exchanging or maybe returning it back. Gift is not given out of courtesy. Gift is not given because somebody has money to buy it. Gift is not given just to please someone. Gift is given to make the bonding between the two persons stronger. Gift is given to tell someone that the other person cares for you. And the gift is given because you are special to somebody. Do not take a gift as a substance. It is something much more than a substance. I still remember I had given a gift of a wristwatch, which I myself liked a lot. I bought it from the HMG store. During those days, I was around 25 years old and my salary was only, you won't believe, 2,500. And I bought a wristwatch of costing 2,500. I gave it to one of my friends. He took it gently, saw it, and you know what did he do? The expression he showed onto my face, I just felt that what type of friend I was, because I thought I was not good in selecting the gift. But at the same time, I also felt that somewhere my friend was also not good in receiving the gift. So make sure that when you are receiving a gift, do not ever think of returning it or do not ever ask for exchange, because gift is a gift. It is not a substance. It is someone's love to you. Just respect it, accept it, and keep it with you forever. My daughter had given me a gift, a Barbie doll at the age of 3. Today she is 26-year-old. I'm still holding that gift with me in my bag. My office key rings, my office keys are attached with that keyring. And this is how I express my love for my daughter, because gift is not a substance, it is love from someone to other. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, DTM Raj Mehta. It was really great hearing you. And I'm sure Eva is really happy to have such a brilliant advice from you. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to have some more volunteers, please. More raise
Time
of-
is exceeding, so you can take last one.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Karthik. Can I have a last volunteer, please? Anyone? Toastmaster Eddie, would you like to participate?
Me.
George, I think.
Okay, Toastmaster George, would you like to participate?
Yes. Yes, I would like to participate.
Okay, sure. So, which number would you like to select?
One not visible actually.
It's not visible. Now is it visible?
Yeah.
Now it is visible.
Yeah.
Yes. So I will go with 7.
Okay. Okay, so another quote which says that some people say a little white lie is sometimes okay. So what do you think about this, Toastmaster George? Over to you.
Okay. So some people say a little white lie is okay. So I'm totally agree with this point actually, because in my life I have also lied a lot of time, because that is only that's for the purpose of right being, like for some goodness. And if suppose what happened, like in my, like when I just spoke with my girlfriend, right? So what happened, a lot of things are there actually, that if I tell her, it's a very small thing. If I tell her, then she will like it will be a very scary situation at the time, right? So I just lied to her, a small lie that can that will remove our that will help us to avoid the falling out things. So I think that little lie is acceptable. Okay, so that's my view for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster George, for giving such a great view on the topic. So I think we are running out of time.
You can have 5 minutes more, because as per table topics, 30 minutes is given. Though our meeting is exceeding time limit, it's up to you. Do you want to take 2 more volunteers or not?
Yes, so I think we can take 2 more volunteers. That's a great thing. We have more time at hand. So any more volunteers, please?
Me?
Yes, please.
Okay,
That's great. Okay, so which number would you like to select?
2.
Okay, so number 2 has, okay, snake and ladder and real life. How similar are they? Over to you, Toastmaster Eddie.
Oh, thank you, Toastmaster. This is very tough one. Okay. Snake and ladder and real life. How similar are they? Yeah, they're very similar, because sometimes in life you have a lot of so-called friends who turn out to be snakes. I have a lot of friends, okay, who I thought they were really nice. We always used to hang out and we used to have fun together. But later I came to find out that they were, bitching about me. So yeah, I mean, this is such a tough one. Yeah, life is like a ladder. Sometimes you go really high, you progress really high, but sometimes you face things that pulls you down, and you're really bad. Thank you. I don't have anything to say. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Eddie. It was actually pretty much what I had in mind. So you conveyed it really nicely. Thank you so much. So I think we are running out of time now. So I would like to end my session, the table topic session here. And thank you so much, everyone, for giving such a nice participation spirit. And I really enjoyed conducting this session with you all. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gunjan. That was indeed a very thought-provoking table topic session. With every option that came up, and the screen would display some title, and I would think, okay, that's interesting. What would I have thought about it? What would I have said about it? So thank you so much for conducting that session. And Toastmaster Karthik, if we are ready, could you launch the poll for the best table topic speaker?
I'm having trouble updating the polls. Please give me 5 minutes. I
Sure.
can
Yeah,
launch
yeah.
poll later.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for conducting the impromptu session so beautifully. And thank you all of the speakers who spoke on it and shared your opinion so candidly. Uh, we often have this fear of being wrong that obstructs us from actually being the right being. But this desire, this pride that we want to feel within ourselves for being right is one of the biggest barricades to being the actual right being. We think, and these are like three assumptions that Catherine Schultz has listed out in her book. And she says that the first reason why we assume that we are right is because we think of something that she calls as a ignorance assumption, that others are ignorant, they don't know what we know, and that is why they are wrong and we are right. We do it most of the time. But what we do even more than this, and where the sin starts to appear, is when we think of something which is called as an idiocy assumption. So we think that they have the same information as we do, but they're not smart enough to be able to analyze that information, and therefore they are wrong and we are right. But the worst possible assumption that we all make, not so often probably, but we do make it sometimes, is the evil assumption. We think that everyone has the equal amount of information, equal amount of intelligence to process that information, but some of the people around us have an evil intent for using that information for a wrong purpose, or they just want to make us seem wrong. We're not wrong, really. And they are just being evil while they do this. And this desire to prove that others are ignorant, not smart enough, or just trying to do the wrong thing to us makes us feel that we are right and we don't need to do anything to change. But we all know that we do. We all have certain improvement areas. To inform us about these improvement areas can come only when we are ready to listen to others. So, yes, I will improve only when my speech evaluator tells me something and I listen intently with the right attitude. But my speech evaluator also needs to listen to me intently with the right attitude and comment on what I have delivered in my speech, as opposed to trying to judge me from their perspective. They may think that being feminist is right, and I may think that it is wrong, and that's what my speech is about. If they think that being a feminist is right, and I'm negating that belief, and they refuse to listen to me and trash my speech because of that, that's not being the right speech evaluator. Also, we need to understand that this rightness of the being comes when we are empathetic towards the other person. It's not just enough to listen. We have to be empathetic listeners and listen to more than what the words are being uttered. Finally, is the gesture of service, which I believe lies in the hallmark of our evaluation segment. Every single person who participates in the evaluation segment is here to serve. The intent to service is how can I be of service to another person? How can I help them improve? That's my service. But we think that no, I need to be great. Greatness actually lies in the offer of service itself. It's fame which causes the sin when we think, how many people know me as the best speech evaluator who won that day, as the best role player who won that day. If I have served the purpose of my speaker, I think it's enough. We don't need to wonder that did I get the fame of the award on that day or not? This is something that I learned when I asked Toastmaster Anand for his answer on what he would advise me for becoming the right being. And he said being right or wrong is just a matter of perspective. And the only thing that we have to remember is which narrative we are telling ourselves. We don't have any control over our actions, our deeds. Our control is only that we will build the story from back and then we will come to the conclusions. So we have to really be careful about which anecdotes we are selecting in that narrative so that we create the right story for ourselves. Would you believe that he is not even half my age? Such maturity and such desire to serve from a person who's been our past president, who's been associate logistics manager, associate division director, currently serving as our area director. We are proud to be his home club and we'd like to welcome the poet, the man who thinks politically but acts humanly, loves listening to folk music, and I am very happy that he sings very beautifully. And I hope that we'll get a chance very soon to listen to him. But for the time being, please welcome our general evaluator of the meeting, Toastmaster Anand Kumar.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Let's have a huge round of applause, team. So, what Distinguished Toastmaster Roli was saying, I would like to continue for them saying that we as person are the people who actually choose and pick those small anecdotes of a story. So while we are picking from the building the story from the back and creating a narrative, there's only few stories which we are picking. And out of those few stories, there are also a few stories which are getting missed out. So as an evaluator in this very evaluation segment, what we are actually trying to do is that we are trying to pick those other stories, those other small anecdotes, which we although have left, but someone else from their own perspective might just add to our own benefit. So in this very evaluation segment, what we are basically going to do is that we are going to subdivide into three parts. The first part will be the prepared speech evaluators who will be coming and giving their report. The second will be the auxiliary role players who will be coming and presenting their report. And third will be my evaluation as a whole. So in this very first queue, I would like to call onto the stage the prepared speech evaluators. And every speaker who comes onto the stage as an evaluator, I would request him or her to please follow the CRC approach, that is commendation, recommendation, and commendation, so that you are ending on a high note and then it just makes the speakers feel levitating, and he or she is just pitched in to come next time as a motivational person and is motivated to take the stage for the next time. So in this very queue, I'd like to call on the stage the first evaluator of the evening, that is Toastmaster Baldev Arora, to come onto the stage and give his evaluation for Eddie Pang. It's over to you, Toastmaster Baldev.
Mr. General Evaluators, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest and speaker Toastmaster Eddie in particular. Please join me for another round of ovation. This time it can be sitting ovation. Toastmaster Eddie deserves that. I am as flabbergasted as I used to be in my first inning of Toastmasters with always icebreaker speech. Toastmaster Eddie delivered his icebreaker speech in the same truthful, transparent manner which generally Toastmasters take care. Toastmaster Eddie started his speech by sharing his personal story, starting from his place, Arunachal Pradesh. Then he went into talking about the good story, the fourth standard class story. He had certain desire to be the topper of the class, but somehow he couldn't be the topper of the class. He turned out to be something else. His speech had all the elements which made me think. It touched my heart, and it had humor also. Although he couldn't be the topper of the class, but when he shared a small nugget saying, oh, he had crush on that girl and that girl further on that topper. And then the heavy duty part of his speech was, which made him think and which is still making me think, what brought a turning point in life. He was off tangent. He went into alcohol and the other things. And when his grandfather in year 2015, he died, that made him think to Toastmaster Eddie, which he shared, that he said, oh, what he is doing about his life, he is not responsible because he himself is not happy with himself, plus his family is disappointed with him. They had certain expectations from him. And it made him think, oh, what is his purpose of life? What meaning? No value. And then he came with a solution also. How did he write all his thoughts and emotions by journal writing? That's the right way of expressing and tabulating your emotions, which he did. And then at the end, he took us to a little bit, I will say, not very strong conclusion, which is fine for an icebreaker speech. He said, hopefully it will be okay. No, I will say, Toastmaster Eddie, you have come to a carpool. This carpool of Toastmasters is full of diverse talent. Use it, abuse it to your best advantage. Whatever you want to achieve in your life, you can do it right here. There is some divine purpose that you have come to this place. So I cannot overemphasize the use of this Toastmaster vehicle. Here you will have free guides, free GPS, free advisor. They will make you. The only thing you have to continue is to come and stay in this Toastmaster. You have met all the objectives of the icebreaker speech, full of transparency, full of truth. And your personal stories you share. For your next speech, obviously, every speech has to have three elements: opening, body, and conclusion, which you can consider to work on. But absolutely, you have exceeded all for an icebreaker speech. And I loved your speech from the bottom of my heart. I wish all the best to Toastmaster Eddie. And now one thing more, my evaluation is over. I have to apologize. I have to go now for my something else. My evaluation is over. And back to you, Toastmaster Anand Kumar.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Baldev. That is so nice to hear from you. Words of wisdom coming in. Now we'd like to quickly go to another distinguished Toastmaster who is in the house, or rather, I should say, as Toastmaster Oli says, to ex-DTM, to distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta for his evaluation for the second speaker of the day, that is Toastmaster Alok Guru. It's over to you, Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand Kumar, the General Evaluator. Why are you sitting quiet? Why don't you join us? When you hear such questions in the beginning, you feel that these questions are being asked from the speaker to the audience. But what a clever casting change when we came to know that the questions were asked from the speaker himself and not the speaker was asking these questions from us. And then we came to know about his real being. His real being during his those days when he was introvert, he felt that he was introvert. And taking a cue from there, he started telling us about many things about introvert and extrovert. For example, he talked about differences between introvert and extrovert. He talked about presence of chemicals and roles of chemicals like dopamine and caffeine. He also talked about how we can change from being introvert to extrovert and from being extrovert to introvert. And then he also gave us some information like 50% of the millionaires are introvert. What a great piece of information. Then again, he added that J.K. Rowling and Mahatma Gandhi were also introvert. Something which we were really surprised. We all know about J.K. Rowling and Mahatma Gandhi, but did we ever had this information that they were introvert? And then he talked about the COVID-19 situation and the amalgamation of these two people in this situation. And then conclusion. What a nice conclusion when he said that both the introvert as well as extrovert were good. A great speech with great information and with great conclusion. I feel at the same time, the speech could have been a bit better had he considered or had he given some attention to some of the aspects, like when his internet was not strong or the signal was not strong, he was trying to adjust himself or adjust the screen. To some extent, it is okay, but at the same time, I felt that it was happening too much. Maybe he was not able to control his movements, but that is something he should have tried to avoid as much as possible. Secondly, I felt that he was telling about two characters, one introvert and second extrovert. He could have easily changed to positions on the virtual screen to move according to these characters. Like if he had started from the beginning, on the left side, he could have moved for representing introvert person, and on the right side, he could have moved for representing extrovert person. All in all, it was a great speech. And I would like to say that the one more piece of information is that none of us is 100% extrovert or an introvert. Some of us might feel that we are an extrovert and we can speak anything, anytime in front of any people. This may be just their thinking within themselves. But today, the speaker, Alok Kuzur, has established that none of us are 100% extrovert and introvert. I would like to conclude by saying to the speaker, why don't you give speeches very often? Alok, how could you manage in spite of such a technical glitch in completing your speech? And I would also like to end that your fabric lasting speech proves today that you are not a quiet guy. Over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta, sir. Okay, I would like to request Tech Master if we can have the polls for evaluators. if that's
First,
ready.
I would like to launch the polls for best table topics. Can I do it, please?
Okay, yeah, sure. So here are the polls, and you can quickly select one of these options which is on your screen, and then you can cast your ballot. Tech Master, do let me know when the polls are over.
Yes, poll is over and would like to launch the poll for best evaluator.
Yeah, okay.
For best evaluator, poll is launched. I request everybody to please vote. You all have 30 seconds to vote.
Please cast in your ballots quickly. That will help us save some time.
Okay, polls time limit is up. Anand, please continue.
Okay, thank you so much, Tech Master. Now, because we have already heard from our prepared speech speakers, it's time to move to our auxiliary role players. So first in the queue is ideally it should have been observational humorist, but he is not here for some particular reasons. So we will quickly move on to language evaluator as the agenda says. So I would like to call onto the stage Toastmaster George Dev to come and present his report. It's over to you, Toastmaster George.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand. Okay, so what I have learned from this meeting is really amazing. That I have to understand the essence of being right or right being. Actually, what I have understood is that I have to focus on right being instead of being right. Okay, so thank you for this amazing topic to TM Roli Sinha. So my report I'm presenting now. Okay, so there is a lot of creative word used in this meeting. The word like introspect, morally reprehensive means morally wrong, morally bad. Okay, then futile, having no success, that means persevering, put across, provoking, enthusiasm means strong feeling of excitement. While Alok was saying a lot of good words and good things, but I was not able to hear him because of some network issue and dilemma. Then levitate, and that word of the day is used by 4 person. Roli Sinha, he used 4 times. Then Shubham Rastogi is used 1 time. Baldev Arora used 1 time, and Ras Mehta used 1 time. So this is the report from my end. Thank you, and back to Toastmaster Anand.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster George. Thank you so much for your report. And I hope that all people will be using the word flabbergasted in the upcoming meetings as well as in their daily business usages. Now it's time to move on to the R counter report, and I'd like to move to Shubham Rastogi to present his report. So I would like to call same to come on the stage and present his report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand. I would like to say this meeting was really flabbergasted. I would rather say this is the best meeting I have ever attended for the Toastmaster. We have distinguished Toastmaster in this. The meeting was really flawsome. I would like to share, to start my report with, a standing ovation that the Icebreaker Speech by Eddie the whole speech, the whole meeting conducted by our President Roli Sinha, and the second speaker, Alok, along with the evaluator Raj Mehta sir and Toastmaster Baldev. They were so good that I could not find any or very less counters or filler words in their whole speech. So please give a huge round of applause to all of them. I've prepared one statistic sheet to conclude, to state my observations. We'll start with the TMOD segment. Definitely, our VP Education had some filler words. Her favorite words were and so. She used it thrice and twice. Our guest, Samir, if he's still there, he used and once, and his favorite words were so. And I'm expecting if he joins our club, he'll be able to work upon such kind of filler words in the near future. In our prepared speech segment, Eddie was really good. In spite of using all the filler words, I would rather exclude all the 16 words that he has used. It takes really a lot of courage to come up on stage and being so honest. It is very much obvious that our distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta sir, I could not find any filler words in his speech, in his evaluation. Our table topic segment was really flabbergasted. I really enjoyed it. Although Gunjan, her favorite word is so, she used it 7 times throughout the segment. I would rather appreciate if she can look over something over to it. Again, our guest Samir used 5 times the word so and 2 hours in his speech. Bhavya used 5 so and 1 and 3 long pauses to think more on the moral values that she had to report. Our Toastmaster Vinayak joined after many meetings, and he used thrice hours, 1 long pause and 1 and 1 other word he used. Moving over to the next segment of the evaluation, I could not find much. I would rather enjoying the evaluation done by all our evaluators. There is less than 2 or 3 filler words into our whole speech. Overall, I would like to say the meeting has been really good. This was the better meeting than I played my last role as an R counter. Although the favorite word that has come up is to be so. So when we are using and thinking about what to speak, we're generally unconsciously we're using the so word. If we can try and give speeches more often, as our DTM Rajmata sir also asked and appreciated Alok to give more speeches, more often speeches, and we can work upon such kind of words that we can. That is all from my side. Over to you, General Evaluator Anand.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shubham. I really like the Excel sheet and your presentation. Now we will quickly move on to the timer. If he can also come in with support. So now I'd like to call Toastmaster Karthik to come onto the stage and present his support. Yep.
Thank you, General Evaluator Anand. I'm flabbergasted by the time taken by many of the speakers and role players. We should have been ended 20 minutes back. And right now we have, I guess, 20 minutes more to meeting going to the end. Let me share the time taken sheet of mine. Okay. Can everyone see the notepad? What I have written? Okay, the time taken, the meeting started on time 6:45 p.m. by me. The time taken by me as a sergeant was 3 minutes 11 seconds. Acting presence those taken 3 minutes 42 seconds, 12 seconds exceeded. Team on role is in had taken 8 minutes 13 seconds, 3 minutes exceeded. Speakers Eddie and Alok, both of them exceeded time limit. Eddie by 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, Alok by 5 minutes. In table topics, most of everyone was within time limit except Bhavya. She exceeded by 24 seconds. In the respective evaluators, Baldev Arora had exceeded time limit by 57 seconds. Toastmaster Raj Mehta had exceeded time limit by 38 seconds. In auxiliary role player, language evaluator was within time limit, had taken 2 minutes 11 seconds. Our counter had exceeded time limit by 11 seconds. Since I guess I have said it correctly, I will show time taken sheets green, yellow, and red. So please follow the cards as I was trying to show to make the meeting more smoother. That's it from mine. Thank you. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, timer of the day. Thank you so much for your report. Yep. Now it's my time to give the report for the whole of the meeting in totality. So beginning with the very first thing, which was on our agenda, the very first item, or rather the first role player who started the meeting, that was Sergeant at Arms. As usual, we have got a tradition of bringing the meeting right, exact, dot on time. The online meeting disclaimer was stated and was out there perfectly. Rules were stated. Meeting. One thing which I really liked about this very presentation was that the Sergeant at Arms had the meeting poster also on his PPT, in his PPT. So that's something good add on to the presentation. Even I saw that at times when there were prompt response needed when people were unmuting themselves or they unknowingly had unmuted themselves. Sergeant at Arms as Tech Master, who is also serving as Tech Master, was out there. Even the feedback link and all those things were sorted well before time limit. So that's a thing which was like just tick mark one after another. One quick suggestion would be, yeah, of course, the timer, the Tech Master was spotlighting most of the speakers when in normal scenarios while they were giving prepared speeches and so forth. So that's a good thing which was brilliantly handled. But one thing which I saw was when people were logged in from 2 devices. So at that very point of time, the spotlight could be better handled. So if someone is using one device for audio and one device for video, so the other device can be spotlighted. So just a quick thing, nothing big of a deal. Coming to the presiding officer, that was Vice President Education Toastmaster Santosh Devi. She quickly came in with the guest introduction. She had a beautiful intro to introduce the Toastmaster of the day and the grace with which she introduced. That was right off the mark. Coming to the Toastmaster of the day, there were moments where she actually like just slipped in indirectly messages, like when she says talked about recording off front, or when she was saying that Toastmaster Eddie, you will probably get feedback from the audience after this speech. So she was actually leading the audience to go in the chat box and fill that very feedback form. So that was a nice trick to use. The theme was actually very catchy and was well introduced. There were 3 segments as usual. That was iterated well. There was a flow throughout the meeting. She had introduction of all the speakers, even for the auxiliary role players. And that was something which was well taken care of. And she followed the name, speech title, name. So the convention was followed. Almost everything was like tick mark, like even during the table topic segment when the polls was to be taken. So she came in, she pitched in, and she said that we need to get the polls, but of course that time the polls was not available, so that was done later part. One quick suggestion for Toastmaster of the day would be that if she can work on the timing part, because as a Toastmaster of the day, of course, while we are working on the content, which also happens with me, that we get to in flow with this content and we forget about the timing part a bit. So that's something which the Toastmaster of the day can take care of. Talking about timer of the day, Toastmaster Karthik, I liked very much that he was using the virtual background, especially because people were also sharing screens. So that's something which was a good tip to use. He also used a very beautiful word, or rather a system which was easy to understand. That was traffic light system. So as a timer of the day, it just makes things easy for audience to understand. And his presentation, his introduction as a timer of day, I have noticed that he comes with a very, very crisp introduction that where he says, apologies if I'm quoting that wrong, record, write and report time, something of that sort. So that is really very crisp, and the timings are met every single time that I have seen, and so did happen today as well. One quick suggestion would be that during one of his reports, I actually saw for our counter, he had written 11 seconds exceeded. Yeah, of course, 3 minutes, 11 seconds, because normally 3 minutes is given. So 11 seconds is exceeded, but still because we get that 30 seconds of time, so that comes in the buffer zone. Otherwise, the report was perfectly fine. Yeah, coming on to the R counter, that was Toastmaster Shubham Rastogi. So he used the word of the day flabbergasted quite numerous times during his report and during the intersection. He came back with the report and he came at the very beginning and even towards the end and related with the theme. And what I liked was his Excel sheet, where he just not had put in numbers, but he had also coded them in colors like the green, the yellow and the red. And that was based again on the frequency of those numbers. So that was quite an interesting thing, which I could find in his report. Talking about the language evaluator, he came up with a really very simple but impactful word of the day, that was flabbergasted, which was used quite a lot during the meeting. So a good choice of word. He nicely iterated what his objectives were right off front during the meeting. And again, one thing which he mentioned, that was to have thumbs up when if someone uses word of the day. One quick suggestion would be that he can also show an emoticon where people can use, let's say if their video is not on, so they can just use the emoticon just as I'm doing right now. So that might be a suggestion on my part, or otherwise if the video is on, so they can of course just do a thumbs up. Talking about Table Topic Master, that was Toastmaster Gunjan. I really liked the way she actually presented the presentation itself, like the way it was very easy to flow with the presentation. You just have to click a number and you went to the very topic. I don't like exactly how did that happen on the back end. That's something probably I will try to catch up with the Table Topic Master to learn as a new presentation skill out here. But yeah, that was a lot of efforts put in even before the meeting. The topics were simple, easy, and she made sure that people who didn't have roles, they were taken first. And then of course, people who had roles, they were also brought in towards that. Now coming on to the evaluators, Toastmaster Baldev, who was evaluating Toastmaster Eddie, he again used the word of the day, checkbox for the language evaluator over there. He came as really very humane evaluator, I will say, because normally what happens that it becomes ritual that as a Toastmaster of the day, you will appreciate and get a standing ovation for the icebreaker speech. But he made sure that even during his evaluation, he mentioned that this was his icebreaker and it's something which really should be admired true to its excellence. He came up with example just not for the things which could have been made better, but also for the right things. So the speaker exactly knew what he actually should continue doing in the coming days. His conclusions, his recommendations, everything was perfectly fine. And one thing which I really like with the evaluator is that he actually gave recommendations without using the word recommendation itself. That's something which I found really very hard. So that's something kudos on his part as well. And Distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta, just like the first evaluator, just checked out all the boxes, came up with the right structure and all, came up with the stats, examples, just like the first evaluator, and came up with suggestions which could actually be implemented when the speaker is new in his pathways, when he's going level 1, so forth and so on. one key suggestion to all, to both the evaluators would be also to to iterate only the most important things upfront, so that you stick with the time limits and you just do not cross the 3-minute 30-second marks. Overall, the meeting was really very nice. The quality was nice, but just one thing to take care of, rather two things to take care of, that we must stick with the time limits. And second thing, that in the initial time, there was a glitch before the meeting where the meeting link was not working. So if that can be taken care of course, in the upcoming meetings, I have checked that the link is, there's a recurring meeting, so that should not happen, but still, that's something which we must take care of in every single meeting, just to make sure that everything is on its place. And that's it on my part, and handing on the stage back to our Toastmaster of the day. It's over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Extremely astute and keen observation for all of us to take back home and learn and be better. And why I say better is because, in my opinion, my humble opinion, being ideal, being perfect, being right is extremely overrated. It just puts so much pressure on us that we start to be afraid of taking any new step. We don't want to experiment. We are scared about what might go wrong, what might come up unexpectedly and take us unawares. And we don't want to try out anything that could propel us from standing and holding our position on that pedestal, which we think others have put us on. And we think that we are going to fall and we're going to get very badly hurt. My suggestion to all of the people in the audience is, why not let go? Why not just try to, instead of being afraid, embrace the vulnerabilities that we have? Why don't we try to see, okay, if it went wrong, what's the worst that could happen? And go on to ask another question. What would I learn if I were to let that thing happen? Perhaps there lies our room for improvement. Because if we keep on following the same path as we have been taught, there will be no innovation. The world wouldn't be where we are today. And we would only be feeling scared that something is going to go wrong and I will lose face. So should we be prioritizing our reputation or should we be prioritizing our growth? Just think about it for a second. If it makes me look foolish, but it makes me grow, should I take the stage today and try to experiment with a new speech? Should I try to experiment and deliver it in a different fashion? Should I or should I not? Or do you think that I should just try to be perfect and you continue to clap because we're polite Toastmasters? That's what our grounding, that's what our training is. I think that we can let it go and experiment. And instead of being right, we can then become the wrongfully right beings. That's how I would like to now hand over the stage to the president. Our acting president had to leave the meeting earlier, so I will take the stage back as president. And I'd like to call for the polls for two. One, the best Aussie role player, and two for the best role player. So one by one, let's go for it.
Polls for Aussie role players launch. Please everyone vote. You all have 30 seconds to vote. Time's up for best Aussie role player voting. Now I'm launching the best role players poll. Please everyone vote. You have all our 30 seconds to vote.
And Karthik, if you could just let me know on person chat, right?
Yeah. Okay. Both of the polls are closed. President, you can continue.
Thank you. And thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Evaluator, for letting me know that the S was missing. Okay, so now let's have some feedback from Distinguished Toastmaster Evaluator first.
Thank you, Rolisina, Distinguished Toastmaster, for inviting me for the feedback. It's been quite some time that I attended the DOTM meeting last time, and I have been wishing that I should attend it. But somehow I felt that I was not receiving the WhatsApp messages. I have said it many times that DOTM is a second family to me after my own club. And I always feel good whenever I am in DOTM because I feel that it is a club which is rising leaps and bounds, and it is a club which shall be to be reckoned with someday in our division. Of course, this club has also given many leaders. I would say great leaders. Rolisina, Devina, Sayan, then we have Anand, and then Anirudh and all that. So it is a club which is really making new leaders, and when the leaders are being made, communicators are always coming up with them. So a great club to attend meeting of, and I would rather be more regular in attending the meetings of this club. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, you are muted.
And I was saying such absolutely wonderful things. But I'll repeat because I was saying it about a very wonderful person. Distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta, we are truly honored that you believe that we are your second family, if not the first. And we do feel that we learn a lot from you every single time that you visit us. It is extremely important for us to have the guidance of our senior Toastmasters. And it is always a source of encouragement when you say that, yes, we are doing something right. And it's not just a glorious past that we have to look forward to. We have a chance of building a great future as well. As you can see, we have extremely talented Toastmasters, and I'm sure that everyone feels happy that you're here to encourage us. And regarding the link for the meeting, I'm sure that typically, the meeting link is just the same. You can use it to attend every single meeting every week. But yes, probably today we did have a challenge, which I think has been rectified as Toastmaster Anand pointed out. And we hope to see you back again next week. And I'm sure that you can always inform Toastmaster Santosh Devi, our Vice President Education, if you'd like to take up a specific role of your choice. You don't have to wait for us to ask you. You can just let us know, and we'd be happy to ensure that you are included in the agenda. I see that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Toastmaster Karthik, I will need co-host access on the device where it says Team Mod.
Just a second.
Sure.
Tmod underscore Rolisana underscore present. This one.
Yes.
Okay, done.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to display our award. Please let me know when you can see it. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So we are going into the awards for meeting number 315. And our first award is for the best table topic speaker, which goes to Toastmaster Bhavya Jain. Congratulations, Toastmaster Bhavya. I'm not sure if are you there in the audience, Bhavya?
He's not.
Okay, no issues. I'm sure the certificate will reach her. Now let's carry on to the best prepared speaker for the day. And it goes to our icebreaker, Toastmaster Eddie Peng. Congratulations, Eddie.
Thank you.
Now you're on mute. Okay, thank you so much, Eddie, for sharing your experiences with us. I'm sure that we've learned a lot from that. And Toastmaster Alok, thank you for sharing your speech as well. It was quite a big revelation in some ways. And our best Aussie role player, congratulations, Toastmaster Shivan Rastogi. Very well done. And now for the best evaluator, Toastmaster Baldev Arora. We'll make sure, I think he's there, but he might have.
He may have that.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now we go on to our best role player, Toastmaster Gunjan Agarwal. Congratulations. Very well done. Very, very nice topics and very uniquely presented. And yes, yours truly also was there in the list. So thank you very much. Okay. And now we can hear a little bit of feedback from Toastmaster Vinay, who has joined us after such a long time. How are you feeling, Vinay? What do you think of the meeting?
As I always says, that it always feels great when I interact with you guys. Today I was a little nervous because after 1.5 months, I engaged with you guys. But yes, anyway, it's kind of a part and parcel of the process. But yeah, I'm looking forward for more such sessions, and yeah, we'll definitely learn a lot of things from you guys. It's a for sure thing which I can assure. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome, Vinay. We are very happy to have you back with us again. And I'm sure that we can learn a lot from you. So take up roles and teach us.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. With that, apologies for the delay in today's meeting. I think Shubham has something to say. Yes, Shubham?
We'll take group selfie.
Yes. Everybody, one. But this is for Delhi one. Ratha, can you just position your finger a little to the center so that it can be visible?
I'll just take one more.
Yes, sure.
I think we are good. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shubham. All right, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night. Have a great weekend.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, it is good to be back, Karthik, and I hope that you feel better very, very soon.
Thank you.
I could see that you were having a lot of pain. So I hope that.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking grumpy because of that.
Oh. Really? Is that the only reason? I thought we gave you enough trouble because you were the timer and we wouldn't see you, we wouldn't acknowledge what you were saying to us through the cards.
Yeah.
But jokes apart, I really appreciate the fact that you even, like, in spite of your ill health, you still came and did your role so dutifully and so diligently. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we can end the meeting for everyone, and thank you so much. Bye bye, people. Take care.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Bye.